Excellent. Welcome to the Hodl Life Podcast, Episode 1. Years in the making. um, my name is Mike. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my co-host, who happens to be my sister.
Hi, I'm Sandra.
Yeah. And basically, we are still pretty new to the Bitcoin scene, right? We got in at a nice ripe price of
All
near all-time highs
yeah.
and been buying and crying the whole way down. So
Mhm.
um, we're learning, but we're very passionate about this technology, and we just want to shoot the shit and talk about it. Talk about things Bitcoin. Talk about things related to Bitcoin. Things related to our economy, politics. Whatever the hell we want to rant about. Um, so how about we just usually we'll go through some news topics, but let's just talk about how we got into Bitcoin. And I would like you to go first.
Sure. So, I think we got into Bitcoin around the same time, to be
Hmm.
honest. Um, and it was when I think the whole world was kind of getting red pilled with the pandemic. And we had that trucker convoy in Canada, um, but we were both passionate about, and then we both made, well, I know I made a donation, and everyone knows about how the government was very anti-trucker and they wanted to start freezing bank accounts because they hated it so much and basically penalize anyone who was for it. So I think I put like $50 into the GoFundMe for the truckers, and I was a nervous wreck when I found out that they were gonna start freezing accounts. I think I called you like, what the hell am I gonna do? What if they freeze my account? I had a kid, I had one boy at that time, and I was like, I need to pay my bills, blah blah blah. So that's when Bitcoin kind of popped up, and I think the government, there was also a crypto donation fund for that, and the government couldn't touch it. And they asked I forget who it is. Probably should know what holding company it was on, but they basically told the government like you need to research crypto because we can't give you any names. Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna get that name while you're talking.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so then Bitcoin. That's kind of like when I was introduced to Bitcoin, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is so cool!" It's like complete self sovereignty, like it's your money. That's when I realized like the government can come after you. Even in Canada, you never thought it could happen, but um, yeah. And then that's when I started reading. I read the Bitcoin Standard. I read Thank God for Bitcoin. Um,
Good books.
Great books. Got me understanding it. And then my husband got involved. He's probably more excited about it than I am. He loves it. And after that, we were all in. And yeah, but the only thing that sucks is that, yeah, we got in at the all-time high. I think it was, for Canadian, it was like 69,000. Or was that?
Uh, I know my first purchase is around 75,000 Canadian.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like 68 USD or something,
Mhm.
69 that I got in. And I was all for it, so excited. It's been a battle since, but I don't care. I'll be in it for life, orange pilling people till I die, hopefully. But
Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah,
Yeah, we just survived apparently the worst bull or bear market in Bitcoin's history. So, um, even though the price action's been um, pretty short-lived lately, it has been nice, but I'll
yeah,
take it and I'll enjoy it.
yeah.
But I'll just kind of go through how I learned about Bitcoin because I just went to a Bitcoin meetup, one of my first ones a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and it was just so cool just going around talking to everybody like, how'd you get into Bitcoin? How long you been in Bitcoin? Some people have been in since 2011, which is freaking wild.
Yeah.
And then other people, they just got in last bull market, a few months ago. They're just curious. Some people had no Bitcoin. It was just neat to see a bunch of people come together and just want to talk about one topic, right?
Hmm.
That's why I think it's important to kind of go over why we're in the space. But the first time I heard about it was in 2013. And I believe I was kind of racking my brain last night trying to remember, but I was on the island at our cousin's house, and he took me to one of his friends' parties,
Mhm.
and everybody was completely shit-faced drunk. And then there was a thing on the TV. I don't know if it was a news program or if it was YouTube, if YouTube was even around back then, but um, there was a bunch of these nerdy kids on TV, and they were just like freaking out, saying, "Bitcoins make me rich." You know, they're just like screaming on television, and I was like, "What the hell is this Bitcoin thing?" And then somebody tried to explain it to me there, and I was like, that sounds stupid. Like that just it's money that doesn't exist. It's internet money. Like, why would I need that, right?
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then I never heard about it again until about 2017. Um, is when I actually first started dipping my feet into investing. And by the way, I got completely wrecked because nobody taught me about investing growing up, so I was just kind of just figuring it out on my own. And the closest I got to investing in Bitcoin was, and this is how unknowledgeable I was about the asset, is I had this Q Trade investor app that my financial advisor got me from my bank,
Hmm.
and I can invest in any stock I want. So I was like, ooh, I want to invest in Bitcoin. That sounds like a good stock, right? So I typed in Bitcoin, I typed in BTC, and couldn't find it. And I was like, I guess it's not for me. And then that was it, you know? And
That's
then, yeah. Uh, and then that's actually like how a lot of people are right now. Like they don't know how to buy it still, you know, we're still so early. But
Mhm.
um, and then man, it's right before the last bull run. Um, I listened to a podcast and I started, started looking into it a little bit more, and I would still have my reservations. You know, I was going down a path where I was kind of getting optimistic about the asset. And I was like, you know what? No, cash is king, baby. I am
Mhm.
not putting my money, my hard-earned money, into this Bitcoin shit.
Yeah.
Um, and then the only thing that changed my mind was our dad actually ended up buying some just randomly, and he
What?
called.
Really?
Yeah, he called me and told me about it, and I was like, "Well, shit. If you're gonna buy some, then I'm gonna buy some." That's all it took, you know.
Dad was the
So
first. I didn't know that.
he was the first one in our family, yeah.
Jeez.
And yeah, so I bought some, and then that was right around 75,000. So I was just watching the price just go up and up and up and up. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh baby, I found the cheat code to life. You know, like why didn't I do this before?
Hmm.
And then December happened, and from basically December until the following December, we thought it was going to rebound. But 2022 was just a gong show. But during that whole 2022, um, the first step I took into learning about Bitcoin was the Bitcoin Standard.
Hmm.
And that's something I recommend everybody read. As soon as I read that book, my mind was completely made up. Like
Yeah, and it's like mind-blowing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I couldn't invest in anything else. I tried over the last couple of years to put money in different assets, but my blinders are on and I'm just laser focused. So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, and
It's
then
really like economics 101 for beginners too. Like
mhm,
so much I didn't know that I wish they would have taught that in high school even, like not even Bitcoin related, just like money, like where it came from, how it started, how it gets devalued, like everything.
I know we were so
It
financially illiterate.
so yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about you, but like my idea of saving money before was just putting enough money aside so I can afford to buy something down the road that I wanted.
Yeah.
And that was it. I had
Yeah.
no long-term goals. I
Nope.
didn't learn about long time preference until I read the Bitcoin Standard, right?
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
We're the same way. But yeah, you're right. I feel like a lot of people they hear about it now more and more, but they don't want to get into it because it is kind of scary. Because for one, they have the same attitude we had at the beginning. Because you're right. Like I think I heard about it before, and I thought, oh, it's like money, errant, like not real money. It's you know. So they have that,
Magic money.
yeah, magic money, and then when you go to these apps, these trading apps to like buy it, and you have to do this KYC stuff, and that can be intimidating too because you gotta like put your like scan your ID and put your personal information on. People are like, oh, I don't feel comfortable doing that through this app that I don't know.
Well, remember when I got onto ShakePay,
Hmm.
and I think I told you and somebody else about ShakePay, and they're like, Come on. You want me to put my money on this app called ShakePay? It's got a
Yeah.
freaking raccoon face on it.
Yeah,
Like, no way, this is legit. I asked the
totally.
same question.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I get that. I
mhm.
totally get that. It's kind of unnerving, and then you kind of realize, oh, it just comes with the space. And if you want to do it, you have to. But I even remember because we got our mom into it, and she was like, "So, like, what is this? No, I can't. They want me to scan." Like, she would just had to hate it. Had to help her through the whole thing, but
Mhm.
eventually, now she's fine. But
I think
yeah.
it's unfortunate, but it's promising. As the price gets higher, the more orange her blood turns.
Yeah. Actually, too, we were just at my mother-in-law's for dinner or Sunday dinner yesterday, and she was saying too, like, "Oh, I'm thinking about maybe putting some Bitcoin, like getting like she's hearing about it, and like
Mhm.
it's we've been kind of talking about it, so it's in her ear now. I feel like it's only a matter of time, um, hopefully. But I think that the app stuff is going to be intimidating too for her.
Oh yeah, we're still early. There's going to be better on ramps, and I apologize. I have to protect our podcast from my two cats. They might jump up on my keyboard and delete everything. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, the app is definitely a hurdle for sure.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
they just do it. So, what app do you use right now for your Bitcoin?
Well, I've been experimenting a bit with Bull Bitcoin.
Hmm.
So I actually I actually just switched my direct deposit information, everything into ShakePay. I just hate traditional banks. So
You can
so
do.
yeah, they actually just released an update on the app, and you can basically they print out a void check,
Hmm.
and yeah, I just been getting my paychecks direct deposit into ShakePay, and they
That's
have
wild.
yeah, it's wild, and then they also have bill payments now, right?
Yeah,
Which is
I have, yeah, I didn't know that actually.
yeah, it's really cool. It's really intuitive, and like now, like I maybe just I keep enough money in the bank to pay for my car insurance because
Yeah.
ShakePay still doesn't have the automatic withdrawals. But I'm not buying any Bitcoin from ShakePay right now. I'm just
Hmm.
kind of saving up cash, and then when I do have enough cash, I use Bull Bitcoin. You can actually go to Canada Post,
Hmm.
and you could buy Bitcoin non KYC from there. So um,
That's cool.
it's really cool. And if anybody's interested in learning how to do that, because it is, everything in Bitcoin is a learning curve. The Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, the guy that is the co-host, his name's Len. He does a really good YouTube tutorial, so you can check that out. But
Nice.
yeah,
That's cool. So you can basically, you don't even need a bank. Well, you do for like the minor things, but you could like sidestep that altogether pretty much now.
yeah, it's really cool. Because like
Yeah.
um, this past year has been absolutely wild. Like watching the banking crisis unfold in the United States, and like banks are still failing, just nobody's reporting on them, right?
Mhm.
And during that time, my wife was having issues with the bank. Like just simple things like transferring money over
Mhm.
took months. You know, um, signing authority for her father, complete gong show.
Yeah.
So stressful. And this is like our money that we work our, sweat and blood for, and
Mhm.
these people are just, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So just having complete sovereignty over your own money, like I can go into my cold card, and if I want to send you like $10,000, I can do it, and there's no intermediary. I don't have to ask the bank for permission. I remember I was gifted some money a while ago, and like you have to get like a what's it called, like a bank draft, and that
Mhm.
person has to hand deliver that bank draft to you. Then you got to go to your bank. Then you got to wait like 12 business days.
Yeah.
And the person that delivered that bank draft to me is a trusted individual that I've known for years and years and years, right? So it's like why do we need the banks anymore? Why do we need these intermediaries?
Yeah, and the thing with bank drafts too is it's supposed to be guaranteed funds, and yet they still hold it for some people. But it's guaranteed, so I don't get why they do that.
Yeah, it's
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Yeah.
But and we
Yeah.
all know what they do with our money now, right?
Hmm.
Rehypothecate it, and I'm actually really surprised that Canada hasn't had a banking crisis yet. But
I know,
We'll
me
see.
too. I was been like waiting this whole year for like the first Canada bank to fail, but or
Uh-huh.
go. Um, I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure, but
yeah.
I'm not gonna take a risk. Everybody says to me like, when I say I'm Bitcoin, they're like, "Oh, only keep as much Bitcoin as you can afford to lose." I'm like, okay, I only keep as much money in the bank that I'm willing to lose, and that's zero.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really cool. And this price action lately has been so weird. We've just been conditioned to down only. So even though, I mean, we're up, I checked before, I think 140% to the year. Um, I'm still expecting at least a 30 to 40% pullback.
Yeah, that's what my husband keeps saying.
It's got to come.
He's like, "Oh, he's just waiting for it." And I was like, "No, babe, it's only up from here." Like,
Yeah, I mean,
kind of
that would be nice.
but yeah, he thinks it's going to pull back a lot, which he's kind of hoping to because he knows this next bull run's going to be wild, so we want to keep stacking as much as we can, but I don't know. Like I wasn't even expecting this much of an increase till like late next year. I was thinking it was going to stay in the 25 and then
Well,
maybe
30 tops.
yeah, 30 tops till
Yeah.
next, but so even this is like I'm just trying not to get my hopes up too. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um
it's exciting. I mean,
yeah.
it's a nice reward. I mean, we've been buying the whole way down, right?
Mhm.
And, a good thing to remind people, that are, um, I guess, scared to invest during a bear market. It's something I learned, not only from the Bitcoin Standard, but just from other like people like Lynn Alden. I'm reading her book right now. It's really good. But like investing on fundamentals instead of price.
Mhm.
And something that really got me through the last bear market was the fundamentals are so strong. Like
Yeah.
every month, even though the price was just crashing and cratering, the hash rate was just going through the roof. New addresses were going through the roof. The network was getting bigger, more secure, more people were using it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, price follows fundamentals, and that's what's happening right now, right?
I think it's important to read the Bitcoin standard too because I never understood the long-term time preference. And now
Yeah,
so it doesn't phase me. I could go through like more bear markets till I die and I'm like, okay, it's okay. It'll be okay. It's always gonna keep climbing. The less Bitcoin that every 4 years that they can mine. So yeah, you just have to have that long-term time preference and know it's gonna be volatile and it's gonna hurt sometimes and just like keep your eyes forward and yeah.
yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have sleepless nights of oh fuck, because every dollar I ever made, I put into this asset because of my conviction. But I mean, you're still a human. You still have those feelings.
Yeah, but you know what? Even when it was like so low this year, what was the lowest it got to? Like 16? 15?
I think Canadian, it was like 22,000.
US. I'm talking US. I was still like, oh, it's okay. It's gonna be fine. It's good.
Mhm.
This is just keep accumulating. You're not gonna regret it down the road. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch also the just the shift in narrative from
Hmm.
2022
Hmm.
because something I've been learning is basically the narrative can switch on a dime in crypto, right?
Hmm.
And like 2022, like it was brutal. It was a bloodbath.
Hmm.
Um, FTX going down, Luna going down, Three Arrows
Sure.
Capital going down. Everything was going down.
Yeah.
Crypto was the enemy. Crypto was the devil. SEC was going crazy with all their litigation, and like they really put into everybody's brain that it's possible that Bitcoin could be
Zero.
illegal, in the United States and Canada, and um, and now you got these people who've been bashing Bitcoin like crazy for years, like these BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, just a
Hmm.
couple years ago he was saying it was a money laundering Ponzi scheme,
Hmm.
and now he's calling it a flight to quality. And that's
Hmm.
like, I'm not saying Bitcoin needs marketing, but that is some bullish marketing
Yeah.
to have somebody like that call Bitcoin a flight to quality.
Hmm.
especially during all this turmoil this year and like a possible recession coming up. I mean, it's looking really good.
That's true. So true. Like people aren't so skeptical when you hear it.
Hmm.
And even if they are, you have that as your backing. Well, Larry Fink, he wants to get into the ETF biz with Bitcoin. Like people are kind of shocked to hear that.
Hmm.
So
And
yeah,
yeah,
you're
looking at the also with the SEC cracking down on Binance too.
hmm
Like I think they're getting rid of CZ, getting them to pay this. I think it was a $4 billion fine.
hmm
Um, and then they just wash their hands clean. It's like nothing happened. Now we can move on to the next chapter.
Yeah.
And I think they're just knocking down the dominoes, getting this um, ETF ready
Yeah, for approval. Because
for
it's
all the
gonna be
big boys.
like next year for
Yeah.
sure.
And even if it isn't, bring on the dip, you know?
Well, honestly, I mean, when there's so many, like Canada has an Bitcoin ETF. Like
Yeah, there's ETF in
it's
Europe.
obviously working in some countries, so I feel like the US can see that too, and they would just be behind on the ball. And
Yeah. I think the market cap of the Canada ETF is 700 million. Like, I
Mhm,
don't think it's a lot. But
mhm.
so it's like a lot of people are saying, if an ETF gets approved in the United States, it really did nothing for Bitcoin in Canada. But
Yeah,
I just read that the ETF market in the United States is 32 times bigger than Canada's.
yeah,
Like the
fair.
United States is like a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah, yeah, we've got like no people up here,
Hmm.
but
No
still,
people.
yeah, but still, it's working. Like it's not like it's a legit thing. Um, I don't, I don't see how they could say no to it at this point.
Yeah, there's 12 applicants at this point, so
Yeah. And
yeah.
they can't reject all of them. They'd be in court forever if they started rejecting all of them. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be pretty good. I think, yeah, it's gonna be,
Gonna be a good year. It's gonna be an
yeah.
interesting year anyways. Because like this year, I mean, we're not stupid. We're in a recession, right? But
Hmm.
not by the government's terminology.
Yeah.
So like the recession was supposed to hit hard this year. This is supposed to be the year like when stock market got wrecked, when crypto was going to get wrecked. Um, 10K Bitcoin, S&P 500 going down, and like the stock market's been on an epic rally
Hmm.
for the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's up 138%. Um, I don't know. I just don't believe what anybody says anymore.
Yeah. And my eyes are just like on the future of Bitcoin. Like I can yeah, I just have my blinders on. Whatever the mainstream media says, whatever Twitter says, I just have my whole heart in it. I just know, it's just ethical money. And I think people are waking up to seeing how corrupt our banking system is, how corrupt the Fed is, and they're sick of it too.
Mhm.
Um, and people want to go the ethical route. And more countries are starting to make it their legal tender too. Like you got El Salvador, Argentina will be next. I know in Costa Rica you can pay for your
Yeah,
goods with Bitcoin.
I'm still on the fence about Argentina.
Oh, why?
I don't know, man. Like Javier, is it Milei or Millet?
Yeah, Malay, I
Like
think.
leading up until when he got elected, he was saying all the right things.
Mm.
And then he gets elected, and the first thing he does is he flies down to the United States and shakes hands with Bill Clinton.
No,
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah. So, like, you know, Bill Clinton. Um, and then he wants to dollarize Argentina, which, fair enough. I don't expect, economies to, just go headfirst into a Bitcoin standard. I mean, El Salvador is still US dollar and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So maybe, but I'm hopeful but skeptical on Argentina.
Yeah, I did not know that. That does not look good. You know what? Because I used to work at the hospital. I was a nurse at the hospital, and I talked to this doctor. And he, at the end of the day, because the elections in Canada were happening, and I was like, "Oh, what do you think about Maxime Bernier and Pierre?" And he's like, "At the end of the day, Sandra, all politicians are parasites. They're all the same.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter how much you put your heart into one, you think they're going to be different. They're all parasites. So just remember that." And I was like, Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It hurts to hear it because you want things to change for the best and you think this one person's going to be the savior, but
Yeah, but that just comes back to what we were talking about earlier, like just time preference, right?
Mhm.
Like all these politicians, I mean, especially in the ones in Canada, um, they're only making policy decisions on what can get them elected for the next 4 years, right? They don't care about the next 15, 20, 30 years. They just want to be in power, keep the party in power. So what does that mean? Spend. What's the next crisis? Like what's the next war going to be? Let's send, $10 billion down there. Um, what's the next social outcry going to be? Like let's flood the market full of socialist Trudeau bucks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I think that's also another thing that's waking people up to Bitcoin is that too, is like the wars and how much money our governments are give like it's pennies. Like, oh yeah, you want a couple billion more? Here you go. And it's like,
138 billion United States is sent to Ukraine, and I
yeah,
checked that stat like a month ago, so I'm sure it's a lot more.
it's insane. And it's
Yeah,
like we pay our taxes. We have like the CRA after us if we have one little mistake, and you can just like send off billions to, let's face it, like it's always been kind of known as a corrupt country. We don't know what they're doing with that money. Like
it's one of the leading human trafficking countries in the world, and we're
totally.
and we're trying to save this country. Like
And
I
please,
feel bad for.
yeah. Yeah, like please tell me how these billions of dollars is helping them win. Like what has it done? Because it's not just from Canada, it's the like all over the world. They're just getting floods of billions and billions of dollars. Like how have they not if you need money to win a war, why haven't you won yet? What does it take? $1 trillion to win a war? Like meanwhile we're out here in Canada, I can hardly buy like a thing of grapes for my son. It's like $15 for a little pouch of grapes.
It's
What?
insane.
It's insane. So I think
Yeah.
that they're like shooting themselves in the foot, these politicians, because that's also turning people to Bitcoin, realizing like, I'm not like it's my money. I'm not sharing that with anyone. It's, you know,
Yeah, and then why would you want to save in a currency that they can just frivolously give away and create,
and
you know?
tax. Yeah.
It's insane. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, we get taxed up the ass.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no hope in politicians. In the next last election cycle, I was really big into the PPC.
Yeah, me too.
I thought if I'm going to vote, I'm going to vote for Maxime because he has, most of the same morals and values that I do.
Hmm.
And I got pretty invested. I went to a few meetups and, just did my best to spread the word all over Chilliwack where I live. And you know, it's like the party didn't even show up. All the people that said they were going to vote didn't vote. The people that do don't have a voice in the House of Parliament. We didn't get any seats.
Yeah.
Um, and at the end of the day, the only thing I care about is, well, okay, I'll just wind it back a bit here. Like the last big revolution for humanity was separation between religion and the state, right? So, and that when that happened, there was a ton of wars that took place, but people after that were allowed to worship God freely without the permission of the state, right? They were allowed to read the Bible and all that. And that was a huge revolution for humanity. I think the next great revolution is going to be the separation of money from state. And when that happens, if there is a politician in the future that will um, make that happen or even put us on a Bitcoin standard, I'll totally go for that.
Yeah.
But if you look at
Yeah.
every single crisis that's going on, yeah,
Yeah.
like if you look at every single crisis going on right now, the war in Ukraine, funneled by shitty money. Uh, Israel and Hamas, that's all funneled by shitty money. You know, if these states weren't allowed to print money up the ass, they wouldn't be going to war because they can't afford it, right?
Cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, we don't really have a politician. I feel like Pierre kind of talked about Bitcoin for a little bit, but that's kind of been dying off. I don't really know where he stands with that anymore.
yeah, he had my attention for a bit, um, and then he let Justin Trudeau bully him out of the position,
Hmm.
and now it's just like. I'm a single issue voter, right? And he almost had me with that. And now it's like we all know he holds Bitcoin. We all know he loves Bitcoin, but um, it's really discouraging that
I
he's
think he has the balls to like implement it Canada wide. I don't think he'll probably
I,
talk about it to get some of the Bitcoiners' attention, but I don't know if he has the guts to actually go through with it, make it legal.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm not going to participate in the next election anyways.
Hmm.
I vote for Bitcoin. I'm going to, my silent protest is defunding these assholes.
Hmm.
But when Pierre first uh, got elected as the conservative leader, he was talking about making Canada the blockchain capital of the world, right? And he was saying all the right things, getting my attention. I mean, he was going on Robert Breedlove's podcast, talking about Bitcoin and what it means to him and his family and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I don't know, he's just playing the game. He's just like a master disguise, just like Trudeau.
Yeah.
You know,
They all are.
putting on turbans, pretending to be a Christian. Lighting all the different kinds of candles out there. So
Yeah, all the different flags. I mean, t to be fair to Maxime Bernier, at least he like stayed consistent. Like he was out there with the truckers, like flipping pancakes. He like on every his policies, he's been pretty consistent. He just, I don't know. I just don't know if that party's going anywhere, unfortunately.
I am very excited to watch the next debate, though. When is the election? Is it 2025 or 2024?
Oh, I think we had the last one in 2021. So
Oh yeah, we
2020
still got a ways to go.
is Maxime, he'll be debating too?
Uh, yes,
Yeah,
apparently. Apparently,
that'd be
this supposed.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I
Good
mean, he
TV.
made a clown. He made a clown of himself last time, though. Do you remember that? They opened up the debate, and then it was just rah, 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 rah. He didn't really say anything.
I don't remember that actually.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, I wish him the best. But out of all of them, I kind
Yeah.
of hope he.
My wife and I actually, it kind of feels weird to call her my wife because you're my sister. Starla and I actually met Maxime Bernier when he came to town.
That's right.
Um, yeah, it was
What's,
nice. It was
what
neat.
did you think of? What did you think of him when you met him?
Uh, just like the YouTube videos and the social media posts,
Yeah, like you're
pretty
just.
consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All I know is Canada is not doing so hot right now, and yeah, things are expensive here. I guess the whole world is hurting right now, but
Yeah, and something actually a book that I'm going to pick up after I finish the one I'm reading right now. It's called oh man, what's it called? It's called Fiat Food.
oh yes, we wanted to get that one too. Miko was
Yeah,
just talking.
it's the same book label as Safedin's book label.
Yeah.
Um, and that is supposed to go basically into how fiat currency is just destroying our food and our food supply. And it's true. Okay, so the other day, Starla went grocery shopping. She brought home some wraps, right? And I've been eating the same wraps for years, and they're like these nice thick flour wraps.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I put a wrap up to the light, and you can see right through it. Like there's nothing in this food anymore.
Yeah. And everything
Uh,
seems like it's getting smaller too. Like
oh, it's insane.
it's getting thinner, it's getting smaller, the portion sizes. It's like I thought maybe I'm growing up, I'm getting bigger, so it seems smaller to me or something, but it's like no, it's genuinely everything, yeah, they're cutting back.
Yeah, I actually I have a one of my guilty pleasures is Pop-Tarts.
Hmm.
I just love a good Pop-Tart every once in a while. I just pop it in the toaster, warm it up a bit.
Okay, fair.
It's so good. You can put it on ice cream. It's delicious, right? Pop-Tarts are good. Even, with all this food inflation, this shrinkflation, and they're definitely worse than they used to be, but they're still delicious.
Okay,
Um,
you're allowed.
anyways,
It's a
so
pleasure.
I keep Pop-Tart boxes as storage containers for my food drawer. Um, Starla and I have two separate food drawers. Like her drawer is like, do not touch my food, and my drawers, do not touch my food, but everything else in the cupboard's fair game, right? That's just like our own like sacred food space.
Okay.
Um, so I was looking, and the old Pop Tart boxes I have, the grams are actually way less or sorry, way more than the new ones we're buying. So
No
like
way.
people don't realize that like yeah, we're just getting completely screwed and the price is going up. So like when the government says, food inflation's only like 5%. I mean, yeah, like dollar value, but if you look at actually what quantity of food you're getting, it's a lot less than
Yeah.
what like the same amount isn't getting packaged anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, you're paying more for less, basically.
Uh-huh.
That's
It's
wild.
infuriating. Yeah.
Kind of a nice social experiment, though, that you didn't realize you were doing.
Yeah, I love Pop-Tart.
Yeah, Ooh, I haven't had a Pop Tart forever.
Yeah.
But
So what else should we hit on here? We've
I
covered a lot of ground. I had the layout for the Hodl Life episode 1, and we've already like completely blitzed through it.
nice.
Um, so we can close with some final thoughts. Is there anything that's on your mind? Anything that you've been reading or listening to or watching that you want to tell me about and tell our potential listener about?
See, I mean, to be honest, I just had another baby, so my life has been pretty busy with the two kids. So
Yes.
like Twitter's kind of been my go-to. I love Natalie Brunell's podcasts. They're kind of, some of them are nice and short and sweet, but you're still kind of getting current events. So if there's anyone out there who's new to this too, that's a great podcast to go to. No, I'm kind of just like watching the price, or keep DCAing. I know the next bull run's going to be crazy. Um, so
So what's
yeah,
the price right now? We should probably let me take a look here. So as of today, in Trudeau bucks, 56,550, which is
that's
pretty good.
yeah. So let's see for the if we have any.
A year ago today, it was 22,219.
So yeah, so the price in US is 41,763.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I was excited. Good timing to record our first podcast right after some nice healthy price action,
Yeah.
you know?
It really shocked me. I was not expecting that. I was really thinking like 30s till next year.
hmm
Um,
Um, yeah, I've been looking at some like old charts, from the past bull cycles.
mhm,
And even in the last one, there was like 20 to 40% pullbacks,
mhm.
and like we haven't seen any of that. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting because I got some dry powder on the side, but
Maybe January. Maybe right before
hopefully,
the SEC approves the Bitcoin ETFs, they'll pull it. It'll
or it
be
could be a sell the news event too, right? Like the price could just just climb and climb till the end of January, January
yeah,
10th or whatever, and then people just cash in,
yeah, after
buy
yeah,
their Xbox or whatever, and you know
pay off their Christmas.
pay off their Christmas
Yeah.
with their many credit cards. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy. The cost of living out here is insane. Um, yeah.
yeah, it's nuts. The people I work with a lot of them are moving. Well, yeah, a lot of them are moving back in with their parents. Um,
I just have a
and
friend that too, she's moving home.
yeah, it's just it's infuriating because I don't care anymore. I talk about Bitcoin because it's all I think about.
Mhm.
So I've been talking to these guys about Bitcoin for this. I've been at this company for a year. The last company I was there for a couple of years. Bitcoin every day. They're freaking sick and tired of it, right? And now we get some price appreciation, and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna ape in, or what should I buy now?" I'm like, "I can't help you."
They're
You know,
getting the
you
FOMO.
yeah, and my advice is dollar cost average, long time preference, take it easy, just
Yeah.
buy a little bit whenever you can, every 2 weeks when you get paid or whatever. But that's not sexy. People just want to ape in,
Yeah.
catch the wave.
I mean, even I get FOMO sometimes. Like, oh man, the price gone up so much. I could have put a bit more in. Well,
Yeah.
like you don't, it's so unexpected. No one can. No one can predict anything with Bitcoin. I mean, I think Miko was listening to Bob Lucas a lot and his predictions, and he's been pretty on target. But even he was saying that he didn't expect it to climb till next year. I think he was thinking like in the t high 20s US.
Hmm.
Um, and then even he just admitted like, oh yeah, I kind of messed up there. I was wrong. And so you can't really predict anything. You can't go off one person. Um, so that's another advice I'd have for people. Like you can listen to all these different people, but no one knows what's going to happen. So just have the long-term time preference. Just always think about that.
Yeah. Keep it
Like,
simple and hodl, you know?
yeah, yeah.
That should be
Don't
our
be desperate.
yeah, that should be our tagline for our podcast.
Keep it simple and huddle.
That's kind of a mouthful. We'll work on that.
That's a good thing, though. Well,
Yeah.
write it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, something I recommend. I am reading Lynn Alden's new book, Broken Money.
Hmm.
And so far, I wasn't expecting it to be a Bitcoin book. So like the first third is kind of just like Saifedean's book, just goes through the history of money, but a little more in depth in some places. It's a lot easier to read than I was anticipating, which is nice. But I was just kind of perusing through the book the other night, and like the last two-thirds of the book is all Bitcoin. So I'm really excited to get into that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Have you listened to much of her on podcasts or follow her on Twitter?
I've just seen like the random podcast that she pops up in or like clip on Twitter and like I
Yeah.
know of her, but I haven't, yeah,
Yeah. So
haven't
so far
really
so
read.
good. That's a good book. That's something I can recommend for sure.
So what's it
Um,
called again?
Broken Money
Okay, maybe I'll have to get that one. I
by
need
Lynn
a new
Alden.
book. I just finished a book. I need a
Yeah,
new one. So
it's a beefy one. So
yeah,
yeah,
when I get time to read.
excellent.
Okay, well,
So
that was great.
episode one in the uh in the bank.
Hopefully it wasn't too painful to listen to.
Yes. And I have an idea for the next episode to maybe keep our potential listener on edge, waiting for next week, is every Bitcoiner goes through stages, right?
Hmm.
There's the ape in, the FOMO, and then you get distracted by shit coins.
Yeah,
And me
yeah,
and you can probably have a two-part series on getting wrecked by shit coins.
yeah,
And I think it's important to share that information with people because
yeah,
you got to keep your eye on the prize, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's a good. We definitely need to talk about that because
yeah,
we have.
so we'll prepare that
Yeah,
podcast and maybe tee that up next week.
sounds good.
All right.
All right.
And thank you for co-hosting. And you're not bullish enough.